Okay, it's 2 o'clock, so we're going to call the meeting of May 28th of the Rules and Open Government Committee to order. Let's start with roll call, please.
Candelas.
Here.
Duan.
Here.
Foley.
Here.
Kame.
Here.
Cohen.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. We're going to start by reviewing our agenda for the June 3rd council meeting. The meeting is scheduled to start at 9:30 and continue at 1:30 for regular session. Were we talking about this one having a potential early start or not?
Not for June 3rd, but
Not
I believe for
3rd,
June
just
10th.
June 10th, okay. Okay. Consent starts on page 5 and continues on pages 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I feel like the count, 13, 14, and ends on page 15. Section 3, we have the annexation area, communities facilities district for district number 11, and section 3.4, district number 8. Section 6, public hearing on sewer charges, public hearing on garbage charges, and public hearing on San Jose Muni water charges. On to section 8.1, deferring the digital billboards. 8.2, community participation plan. 8.3, consolidated plan fiscal year 2025-26. There is an ad sheet amending that item. We need a sunshine waiver. So the motion should include the sunshine waiver for 8.3. 8.4, loan commitment for affordable housing development Gateway Tower. Scope of work for the Envision San Jose General Plan. 8.5, no items on land use, and we will start with public comment.
Blair.
Hi, Blair Beekman. I'm here for one more week. Hi to everyone. I'm interested in item 8.1 that's going to be deferred to June 17th, which is about the future of electronic billboards in the Willow Glen area, I think. And a study session process will be done. I'm not sure if that's quite the right place, but a study session for future electronic billboard use. And I'm concerned and worried about it, as always, along with the smart kiosk projects for downtown San Diego. San Jose. I'm not a big fan of the electronic billboards or the smart kiosk, and I hope within this study process, an important study is the conversations that you had on previous electronic billboards at the airport. And what was that conversation with the public like? And how were you actually engaging with the public? And what was shared, what information was safe in the public space to share? You guys have an incredibly hard problem to share technology information in the public space. It's a really important point of mine that I think you guys really have to make an effort as a part of this studies process to learn how to be more honest with the community about what the technology is going to be doing. I don't know why you guys can't do that. I don't think it's that difficult. But we've made it into this big national security drama where we have to protect and respect everything so we don't share anything. And that's a really wrong approach. And it has to be a community process in the future, a responsible process. And that means sharing the information of what's going on. We have ways to do that now. I hope we can all do it together coming up. Good luck how we can do that. Thanks a lot.
Back to the committee.
Move approval, including the ad sheet.
Second.
Make sure to enumerate the sunshine waiver need for.
Including, yes, which includes the sunshine waiver for item 8.3.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I don't see any other comments, so let's vote. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. We're on to the agenda for Tuesday, June 10th. This one's noticed for a recommended for an 11 a.m. start for the regular session after a 9:30 closed session, also including an evening session at 6 p.m.
Chair, can I mention something about the last agenda that we just approved? We do have a flag raising at 5 o'clock for Pride, so we'll have to adjourn our meeting and then come back, I guess, if we're not finished by then.
Yeah, I think
I don't know if we need to add anything to the agenda, but that,
just have to make sure
Yeah.
that we're all aware that we need to take a dinner break right around that time.
5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock or 5:30?
5.
5 o'clock, okay. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, for this, for June 10th, the consent starts on page 4 and continues on pages 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and ends on page 14. In section 3, we have proposed changes to the policy on Measure E allocation to be heard concurrently with item 3.4, which is our June budget message discussion. We have section 3.5, we have our capital budget and schedule of fees and charges. 3.6, amendments to the Muni Code. 3.7 is our code of conduct for encampments. 3.8, approval of tax-exempt multifamily housing revenue notes. And 3.9, pay for performance. Section 5, we have a report on at-grade station alternative for the Deerden project. In Section 6, option agreement for a ground lease for the advanced water treatment facility space at up in North San Jose. And then Section 9, we have a successor agent redevelopment agency to be heard immediately after consent. We also have one item on land use consent and 2 items on regular consent, all to, well, the 2 land use regular consent items not to be heard before 6 o'clock in our evening session. So let's start with public comment.
Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the time here. Code of conduct for encampments. I didn't know if that's regular unhoused encampments or if it's city-sponsored encampments, the code of conduct. I wanted to mention for the city-sponsored encampments issues, I know in San Diego they're really working to create shelter for the unhoused. They have a tent system. It's pretty interesting. I wanted to mention San Diego, the city, is having a bit of difficulty in upkeep of the tents. We run into all the problems that you would figure that would be happening in a city-sponsored process of unhoused encampments like this, and it's happening. And I wish, there's money shortages, there's, cleanliness situations going on, and it's sad to happen. That it's happening, and I just wanted to offer at this time. I hope you can be working on an enforcement process that is agreeable to everyone, and that the city government is always wanting to add to in good terms. That to me is important. How to be working towards. If city government is not doing something very decently and in good humanistic terms, I hope they want to work on that basically and really correct the problem. That's what our work as city government tries to do. Good luck in those efforts. Thank you.
Back to the committee.
Okay, thank you. On this agenda is pretty confusing in terms of timing. We're starting at 11, but we have a lot of items that can't be heard till after 1:30. If we get through, it looks like we'd be doing consent, followed by land use consent, followed by the successor agency item, which gets heard immediately after consent. And then we could, because it's the first item not noticed after 1:30, move on to 3.6. Is that what we would do if we have time?
Yes, that would be the first item.
First
On
item
the
in
regular
order
agenda
after.
that's not to be heard before.
And I
1:30.
imagine we wouldn't want to move on to 3.7. That'll be a long discussion, so
And then 3.8.
we could pull 3.8 forward if we really still have time before lunch to try to get as much done as possible.
Yes.
Okay. And we have one more crack at this next week, so let's, I guess,
Okay.
think it over and talk at rules next week about how we want to structure things. We might want to, I don't know whether staff wants to renumber or think about what the right order should be to try to make this agenda work. My question would just be about, and I asked you this before, but have we, balanced the load in terms of this and the meeting on the 17th and making sure that we're not overloading the first meeting?
Yes. So the administration has definitely looked through that, and we have moved a couple of things around, but I think we can take the next week to look at that again and also definitely look at the order. I think you raise a good point there, and so we'll take a look at that.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Move approval. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt the June 10th agenda. And that motion carries 5-0. And now we are on to our consent agenda for today's rules meeting. We have 3 items on consent, and we'll start with public comment.
Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman. I wanted to speak to the letters of the public record. There were letters about working on unhoused issues in local neighborhoods. I wanted to add my 2 cents to the unhoused questions always on our minds. But way back, when I started participating here in city government, more community in San Jose 10 years ago, the efforts of working with unhoused, we used to have the dumpster days on Saturday mornings, and it was, I think, with a very specific intent for everyone of the community, the unhoused, the people unhoused. They could all gather around the dumpster and have things to throw out on that day in their local neighborhood. And I mean, that was a regularly practiced thing, and I hope we are still working in those terms and consider life in those terms of our local neighborhoods, and how we work together to solve our issues. And I know everything's always internalized, and I wish I could just hear and understand what actually is happening in all these internal conversations. I'm just so outside of everything, and I feel kind of silly for that, but it would be nice to know that we're working together to solve these issues. And I really thank the words of Sean Cartwright, who a couple weeks ago offered the concept at Open Forum. If the mayor is going to follow through with these law enforcement patrols, which is a good idea that he has a specific group in mind to do the law enforcement patrol. San Diego has some good models that I think you guys are going back and forth with right now. Try to have a competition on better and better humanity. On how to work this program, because Sean Cartwright noted that our city government staff going to be snitches, and then cops are going to come in. Where's the trust involved with that? I hope you can work on it.
Back to the committee.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion for consent?
Second.
All right, motion and second. Let's vote on the consent agenda. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. And we are on to our first, or our only, Rules Committee review for today. I see Councilmember Ortiz here. We'll give you an introductory moment. We also, presumably on this item, we will be bringing it back to Rules again in a couple weeks for our more official review, but give us a quick overview.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Peter Ortiz here, Council Member for District 5. Good to see everyone. I'm here today to ask for your support in moving forward a temporary moratorium on new tobacco smoke shops in the city of San Jose. This is not a ban, it's a pause that allows us to assess how we can better regulate the overconcentration of smoke shops in vulnerable communities like District 5. A recent Santa Clara County report found that East San Jose has double as many smoke shops as any other area within the county. At the same time, cancer is now a leading cause of death of Latinos in our region. That's not a coincidence. It's a consequence of decisions made by the city over time. For too long, East San Jose has been treated as a dumping ground. oversaturated with smoke shops, liquor stores, and other polluting industries. This moratorium gives us the opportunity to stop the bleeding while we develop a comprehensive citywide strategy, one that prioritizes equity, public health, and smart land use. No child should have to walk past 2 or 3 smoke shops just to get to their school. Unfortunately, that's the reality right now in District 5. No neighborhood should be disproportionately burdened by harmful businesses. I urge this committee to please move this item forward to the full council so we can have a transparent and public discussion about how we can protect our communities, especially those that have been historically overlooked. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. We will start with public comment on this item.
Darcy and Danny, please go ahead and make your way to the podium. Whoever gets the mic first can go ahead and speak.
Good afternoon. My name is Darcy Green, Executive Director at Latinas Contra Cancer, a mother to an 8-year-old and a very proud resident of East San Jose. I want to start by thanking all of the council members who brought this critical memo forward and Councilmember Ortiz for his leadership on this issue. I'm here today in strong support of this temporary pause on new smoke shops. Right now in East San Jose, we have more than twice the number of tobacco retailers as the county average, and for Latino communities in our county, cancer continues to be the leading cause of death. So many things affirmed in our recent Latino Needs Assessment, and if you haven't been able to read it, I encourage you to do that. There is a connection between the number of tobacco retailers in our area and cancer remaining the leading cause of death for Latinos. This is not by chance. It's a result of deliberate actions that place harmful industries in low-income immigrant neighborhoods like the one that I live in. Smoke shops sell cancer-causing products, they target our youth, they expose families to secondhand smoke, and they make it harder for people to quit when they're trying to. As a mother, I want my son to walk past life-affirming businesses, and as a health advocate, I deeply, deeply believe that our neighborhoods deserve better at this time. So this moratorium is about pressing pause on harm, about making the space for health, equity, and possibilities in our community. It gives us the breathing room to ask ourselves, what would we like to build instead? So please support this pause, creating space for community to reimagine East San Jose, not as a place saturated by harm, but as a model of health, justice, and care. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to see you. My name is Danny Garza, and I had to write this so that I don't get lost. Now, getting older with my Googlies. I'm here today as a proud community leader and advocate for health, safety, and future of our East San Jose neighborhoods. I'm speaking in strong support of the proposed temporary moratorium on new smoke shops in San Jose, especially in East San Jose, where the concentration has reached deeply concerning levels. And I'll tell you what, my grandson, when he was at San Jose High, couldn't go to the bathroom because of the vaping and the smoking. Our community is already grappling with disproportionate burdens, from public health disparities to underinvestment in services and infrastructure. The data speaks for itself. These shops are often near schools, youth centers, and homes, putting our young people directly in harm's way. At Ann Darling, at 33rd and McKee, where we had the alcohol issue, across the street at the Shell station, when that first opened, we moved, the school site council moved that they not have cigarettes and alcohol advertisement, and that's what Plata Arroyo is recommending today. This is not just a zoning issue, it's a public health issue. It's a racial and social equity issue, and it's an issue regarding our respiratory systems, our children and our seniors especially. Allowing more smoke shops to open without a pause risks worsening smoke-related illnesses. Our call to action is, let's not wait until the situation gets worse. Let's act now for the promotion.
Thank you. Your time is up. Back to the committee.
Okay, thank you so much. I see multiple hands raised, so we'll start with Councilmember Dewan.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for bringing these issues towards our community. D7 also had a large concentration of vape shops and smoke shops that sell illegal hemps and the psilocybin product like mushrooms and so on. But I'd like to know, what is the long-term regulatory strategy should the city consider to manage the density and location of smoke shop beyond the temporary moratoriums? And that's to Chris Burton or his colleague.
Let me just start by asking him, so I assume what we'll do today is send this back to Chris, you and Rachel, and your team to bring us an analysis of workload so that we can decide how to move it forward. And we'll be having another discussion at our Rules Committee meeting. So maybe give us some context on what the next steps would be, the timeline you think is reasonable, and then go ahead and see what you can do about the question that was asked.
Thank you. Chris Burton, Director of Planning, Building Code Enforcement. So yes, so certainly this is an issue that we have been working on. There's prior council direction around some aspects of this. And obviously we do have an existing tobacco retail license that's a requirement that exists today. I think the memo from Councilmember Ortiz is kind of broadening this issue and kind of bringing in some other aspects as well. So I think, from a staff perspective, we'd just like to take the 2 weeks just to do the workload analysis and then also just figure out how all these pieces fit together. There's obviously a number of different moving parts. There's a number of different agencies that we work with on this issue, including our own police department, as well as the state. So it's just important to just take that moment and figure out all the pieces and then bring back that analysis for council or the committee to discuss. I think with regard to the question, it's a good one. And again, I think part of this will sit with how we sort of think about that approach. As I said, we do have an existing program for the legal sale of tobacco products. There are requirements in the municipal code about citing new licenses and renewing existing licenses. I think there's an aspect to this that is an expansion of that, those uses that don't fall within kind of what's currently considered under the ordinance. And then I think, as we look forwards to a sort of longer term strategy, how we kind of think about balance across the community is going to be an important part. I don't have solutions for that yet, but that's certainly part of what we want to take into account as we think through this.
Thank you. And do you know how many smoke shops have applied for license within the past 3 months?
Thank you, Councilmember Rachel Roberts, Deputy Director of Code Enforcement. So this fiscal year, we have seen 18 new applications, and we've seen 14 cancellations of permits. The number has actually gone down since we enacted the flavored tobacco ordinance, which included proximity requirements. So it's dropped from over 600 businesses citywide to 575 currently.
Thank you. And I know that Richmond have done a moratorium for 45 days in 2024 to address the proliferation of smoke shops selling illegal products, including the sale of illicit substance. This helped the city, both the police department and code enforcement, to have some time to address a lot of these these smoke shops that pretend to sell tobacco, but when you go in there, they're selling illegal substance. And so do we look at Richmond program and enhance upon that?
So I think certainly as we sort of look towards kind of formulating a strategy, absolutely we'll look to other cities. I know Campbell is working on this issue as well. And so typically as we address these, we'll look towards peer cities. So it's helpful to hear of others that we can work with.
Thank you. So I'd like to move to accept Councilmember Ortiz, Campos, Candelas, Cohen, and Casey to include, direct the city attorney to analyze the 45 days moratorium model from Richmond, in which paused the influx of a new smoke shop, enhanced code enforcement in operation to crack down on illegal sale of illicit drugs, and straighten the zoning restriction by capping the number of licensed tobacco seller, and bring this workload analysis back to the City Council when this item cross-reference, in, I believe, in 2 weeks.
Well,
Yeah, what I'm asking is accepting your memorandum to include an analysis model from Richmond.
What we're going to do, I think, what we'd like to have the motion be today, since we have this process on rules now, is that the motion is to ask staff to come back with a workload analysis, and then that'll be a 2-week process. On the June 11th meeting of rules, we will then receive that workload analysis, and then we will make a more detailed motion about referring something to the full council with whatever additions we want to make or whatever changes we want in it. At this point, we're just referring to staff for the workload analysis, step 1, and then step 2 will be when we would take other further action and other details of any motion we want to make at the dais.
Okay, well
So-
then I'll motion to approve so that we would bring back to the
Bring back to the
Rules Committee in 2 weeks.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second to refer back for the workload analysis. And now on Vice Mayor Foley.
Thank you. This is really an important issue. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. That the flavored tobacco ban was something that I championed and co-authored the memo along with Councilmember Cohen and got it passed unanimously and implemented a couple of years ago. So we're really proud that that occurred, and this goes along with that. The other point that this mirrors as well is cannabis and the restrictions on cannabis. When cannabis became legal originally, there was a restriction on zoning as to where these dispensaries could be located, and it was predominantly in District 7. So I championed that as well. We passed an effort to modify the zoning to allow the dispersal of these dispensaries throughout the city of San Jose to remove the concentration from one particular area. So this really mirrors things that we've already done. I look forward to the workload analysis, and then the item actually coming back to council for a formal discussion. But thank you for bringing that to our attention. I appreciate it.
And now Councilmember Candelas.
Thank you, Chair. I want to start off by thanking Councilmember Ortiz for your leadership in bringing this item, or bringing this moratorium forward. I also want to thank the community leaders who are here on a Wednesday afternoon to advocate for our community. The truth of the fact is, families in East San Jose deserve better, and as a city, we should be doing a better job of regulating the locations of these smoke shops, and where we allow and where we allow them, given the impact on the public health, safety in neighborhoods they encompass. We've seen this proliferation throughout our city, and to my colleagues, on my drive home from City Hall, I pass a bunch of them. And so this is real, and I think this moratorium is smart, and hopefully the work analysis comes back, and hopefully this isn't a heavy lift for staff. But I look forward to discussing this as a whole, given the need. And I appreciate being a part of this Brown Act, and look forward to working through the policy implications that come with that analysis. Thanks.
All right, Councilmember Kamei.
As Vice Mayor Foley said, this is really a critical issue. I want to thank the advocates who came today to speak on this matter. It is so important for our community, especially for our youth. In terms of coming back with with the workload analysis. Will that also include the areas of concentration? Because I know that while there's been a lot of discussion also in terms of the numbers that are in East San Jose, what I've noticed, and I'm glad that you mentioned that Campbell is looking at it, that in the Cadillac Winchester area, seems to be quite a number popping up. So I think that if that is part of the workload analysis, that would be terrific.
Was
Is that a
question?
yes?
Chris?
In other words,
I think the answer
looking
to
at-
I think the answer to your question might be until we do the workload analysis, and then we won't be able to answer that question. That question will be
Correct.
answered in the workload analysis as to what can be included and how long it would take to do.
Yeah,
Well,
guess-
I think it's important to know where are the areas of concentration, because I think that if they are identified, it would be helpful. As Vice Mayor Foley mentioned, initially, even on the cannabis, the concentration was in District 7. And so I think that it would inform our decision-making in terms of how we would address this and how, you would move forward with this. So it's just informational.
Yeah, so totally appreciate the point and completely understand and agree that that's important information. I think, step one for us is to sort of scope the work, right, and sort of assess how much sort of work and what trade-offs are required as a part of that, which would include spatial analysis. We do have some of that information available and could probably turn that around relatively quickly. I just want to be clear, though, that the sort of information we'll have right now is on legally established businesses that are licensed.
That's fine.
It doesn't give us that insight into all these other businesses that either are operating illegally or don't fall into our definition that are caught by the requirements.
Yeah, for just to piggyback off of what Chris had mentioned, last year we had a smoke shop open up across the street from James Lick. Had a sign that said smoke shop, had, paraphernalia, but they didn't sell tobacco. So they didn't have to get a tobacco license, so it didn't qualify. So that's just an example of how some of these things are tricky.
Thank you for that.
And just to be clear, I mean, in theory, we could implement a moratorium without the full analysis. And then the idea of the moratorium is that that gives us time to do an analysis. So I think this is a two-step process, right? I mean, if we believe, and I certainly believe that it's time for a moratorium, that we can do that with little staff work, and that the staff work comes in some period of time after that to determine when is the right time to lift the moratorium and put in place new regulations for the next applicants. Is that fair?
So generally, I don't want to overcommit the city attorney's office, because actually they play a pretty big role in just establishing a moratorium. There is work associated with that. There are findings that we have to meet. But, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I think this is a two-step process where we sort of think about kind of near-term, how do we, create an opportunity for the outcome we're looking for while we do additional analysis to structure a program that then sort of moves on forwards from there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, I can't speak for the whole city. I know my district better, but I'm hard-pressed to think of a strip mall, even in my district, that doesn't have a smoke shop in it. So I always imagined that was typical across the entire city. And regardless of district, I think that's a question as to what kind of concentration we want anywhere in the city of San Jose.
To comment on that, I think the county, the comment is more East County. It's not District 5, it's our district, District 4, District 7, and District 8, I think, is where the concentration is.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't looked at the data. I just assumed that if I drove everywhere in the city, I'd see them in every strip mall, but that might not be true. But I appreciate, being part of this. It's, when Vice Mayor Foley and I worked on the flavored tobacco ban, and particularly about location near schools, it still bothered me that we were saying we're not going to have flavored tobacco near a school, but I could think of several smoke shops that were still selling tobacco and alcohol and other things right next to schools, even though we had dealt with one piece of it. We hadn't really addressed the question of, where to locate them. Now, obviously, they're already located there. It's hard to change that, but we certainly, I always was bothered that there's more that we could do beyond this. So I appreciate, bringing this forward. So we have a motion to refer this back to a workload analysis to come back to rules in 2 weeks. I don't see any other hands up, so let's vote. All right, that motion carries 5-0. Appreciate it. And now we're on to open forum.
Blair?
Hi, thank you, Blair Beekman. Real good luck in your work with San Diego. I see a lot of similarities between how your two cities work and how you guys communicate projects you're working on and what you're talking and working on. Good luck how they can really grow. Just really apply humanistic ideals and principles to these upcoming homeless issues with police involved in arresting. It's hurtful. San Diego started this process. You're going to try to improve upon it and really improve upon it in humanistic terms. And man, just I hope we just can do this well. With that said, to also mention humanistic ideas about responsibility, working on the future of tech. When I mentioned a few weeks ago, one of the last things that Mayor Liccardo tried to work on here in San Jose was the idea of hiring city government staff that had a real care for the future of technology, and that they would have a real purpose to be engaged with the community and to seek community input, dialogue, and have conversation. And that was a really nice step he took, I felt. And I asked before, and I asked yourselves now, what sort of steps are you trying to consider as how to really build a responsible future of tech? I mean, it's great you want to build an IT future, an AI future here, but where's the responsibility involved in that? Where is our good principles involved? And that's how you will bring people to San Jose in the future. Obviously, that's what I've always tried to say. Good luck on working on our good principles. Thank you.
Back to committee.
All right, thank you so much. We are adjourned at 2:37 p.m.